Hey Toy Family, welcome to the Marsham Toy Hour, where we discuss anything and everything designer toys to help promote and educate and maybe, just maybe, will increase your toy IQ. I'm Gary Ham.
I'm Teresa Hawkins.
And I'm George Gaspar.
Welcome back, George.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
You're always welcome here. I saw that you're back on the Toy Chronicle too. That's good to see. You took a couple weeks off after San Diego Comic-Con, is that right?
I think you meant Toy Geeks behind the counter.
Edit.
Is it Toy Chronicle?
Did I say Toy Chronicle?
Yeah.
Fuck. What's wrong with me? All right, guys. Well, we have a guest tonight, and we got him for a short period of time. So let's just get rolling and give our guest a proper introduction. He is John of the House Spanky, blogger of the Toy Realm, promoter of artists, prince of positivity, retainer of the Designer Toy Award, regent of Free Goody Friday, the father of strolls, founder of SpankyStokes.com. So let's welcome John Spanky Stokes. Welcome, John.
Hey, what an introduction.
That was damn sweet.
What did you say? Friggity what? What?
Friggity, fraggity, friggity?
Yeah, sounds great.
Well, I mean, let's break it down the friggity fraggity, and let's just say that everyone knows you're a kick-ass toy blogger and responsible for founding the very popular toy blog SpankyStokes.com, right?
Yeah, that is me. That's me by night.
And by day, you're
my alter ego. By day, I'm a senior graphic designer at a local casino in San Diego.
Look at that, throwing out the title, senior. Nice.
Hey, you gots to.
You earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I work, we don't get titles. I've been there for like
shame.
13 years and still the same person I was when I started. Oh well.
Well, yeah. Oh well. As long as you're getting a raise every once in a while, that's what matters.
Nah. So
Let's hope you're better than when you started.
So John, how did you get started? When did you start collecting designer toys, and then what made you want to start a blog?
Oh, okay. So in 2007, I went to a design conference, since I'm a designer, in San Diego. It's called the Y Conference. And there they had like a little area for vendors set up. And there was a booth for Subtext. It was a gallery in San Diego. So they had a booth, and at their booth they had some vinyl. And I bought a Azteca Dunny blind box, the first series, as well as I believe the first series of Mongers. And ever since then I was hooked.
Nice.
Yeah, so I started, dabbling around, looking online for whatever I could find on them. Ended up joining the Kid Robot Forum, where everybody went. That was the juice back in the day, the Kid Robot Forums. And then George with the October Toys Forum.
Yep.
I was a part of that as well.
Yep. And then what made you get started into wanting to spread the news and help promote the scene?
Well, I started the blog as more of a personal thing, and it kind of turned into me wanting to know more. And, upon doing research, there were only a few sites out there: Plastic and Plush, Vinyl Pulse, Toys R Evil. They were the only ones, and I felt like there was more to be found and seen, and obviously there was. So we just started, or I should say I just started covering it, and that's kind of how it turned into what it is today.
Okay. And the name, Spanky Stokes. It sounds like a pornography site. Why did you end up going with SpankyStokes.com?
Gary.
I know. I'm sorry, Teresa. I know. But it does. If you didn't know, John has his nickname is Spanky. Actually, I think one of the first times when I actually learned about SpankyStokes.com, I thought it was a joke. And then it turns out it was legit. So I'm wondering, why did you end up going with Spanky Stokes?
It is still a joke, Gary. It's still a joke.
No, but it's had longevity. It's obviously a nickname that stuck. A very popular toy blog, and I just kind of curious why maybe you went with that name first, and how did the name come about? How did you get that nickname?
Spanky came about my freshman year of high school. I was playing football, and my offensive line coach thought I looked like Spanky from the Little Rascals. My last name is Stokes.
Simple as that. Nothing more?
Nothing more. The Spanky stuck, though. Like, it went with me from high school to junior college, and got a scholarship to play football up at Humboldt State, which is in Northern California. And I had friends that actually came there from my junior college, so they knew me as Spanky there. So it just stuck. And I mean, my dad even calls me Spanky.
So wait, you didn't start the blog until 2007?
This is correct.
Wow, I thought you were there from like way earlier than that. That's crazy.
Actually, I started in 2008. I started collecting and getting into the vinyl in 2007. Started the blog in 2008.
I do feel like it was earlier. I feel like I went to like a VTN or a Designer Toy Con, what it's called now. But I think I went to a VTN and you had a booth set up there. Did you start like doing booths at conventions before you started the blog, or did it kind of happen around the same time?
Before you answer that, Gary, you know it's still just called Designer Con, right?
What am I calling it? Designer Toy Con?
Designer Toy Con again.
I'm fucking clueless. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay, now you can answer.
It's part of my charm.
2008 was actually the first year that I did Vinyl Toy Network at the time.
I think that's where I first saw you. Yeah.
Yes, and that was actually the first year. 2008 was the first year they did the 2 days, and it didn't do well.
I don't remember. I think we exhibited that one. I think you were kind of across the way, just a little catty corner to us. But I don't remember. I remember it being 2 days, but I don't remember it not doing too well.
Yeah, well, that's why they went back to 1 day for like 5 years after that, and then they went back to 2 days, and it ended up doing a lot better.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
Yeah, or 4 or 5 years, something like that. But it was when Vinyl Toy Network or Designer Con was in that foyer of the convention hall. Do you guys remember that? It was like there were stairs down the middle of it. And...
Yeah, it was downstairs underneath the stairway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
It's early days. Now you don't exhibit at Designer Con anymore, do you?
No, unfortunately, I don't have the time to gather and get everything together.
How long's that been? Because I remember it used to be like one of the larger booths at the convention. You would always be like doing giveaways and promoting. It was kind of a rowdy booth. Why did you stop? Or when did you stop?
Yeah, I considered it my convention. That's how much I love doing it.
Well, we couldn't call it Spanky Con. I think Designer Con's a much better name.
You could, but I just think it might attract a different crowd. You know, I stopped when we had our daughter. That was the game changer. So, you know, being a parent, I mean, obviously, you know, it takes up a lot of time.
It's a game changer. Yep.
Yes, it's kind of when it stopped.
That's kind of about when it stopped for me, too. I think the first year I had my 1-year-old there, or maybe he was less than one, and I don't think I've been back since either. So I get it. I totally understand that.
But you still did San Diego Comic Con, so...
Yeah, no, we did. And that's also because it was more of like a family vacation. I mean, you would go out there and we would go, you know, well, actually, I wouldn't go. The wife and her friends would take the kids to the beach and, you know, Sea World and all the, you know, the zoo and all that fun stuff. And,
yeah,
you know, and also with having kids, you have 2 car seats or 1 car seat in the car. That takes up a lot of space, so I couldn't bring as much product. So then we would end up bringing 2 cars, and parking was expensive, having to park 2 cars. And so, you know, a time came where we just kind of like had to check yourself and just kind of realize, like, is this worth doing? I mean, you're indoors for 5 days, 10 hours a day. It was super expensive. You know, you got the car thing and the parking thing, the hotel, and then on top of that, you know, while I'm stuck indoors for 5 days, my family's out there doing SeaWorld and the beach and the zoo, and I'm missing out on all this great family time with my kids. And you know, once I realized that, it was very easy way to part ways and no regrets.
Yeah, understood.
Now you've been doing blogging for 2007, so almost 10 years now. And
2008, yeah, so almost 10 years.
Yeah, and so that's a long time. And blogging, I mean, it's no joke. I mean, to continue what you've been doing on a daily basis for over 10 years, that's incredible. And, you know, the field's quite competitive. There's, you know, several toy blogs, and to be one of the premier ones, you really got to be on top of your game. And I would say you definitely are. And I commend you for that. And so do you ever feel the pressure to stay on top of your game and evolve and improve and all that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be foolish to say that we didn't.
What are some of the most recent changes or some of the biggest changes you had to do to the website?
Well, when it first started, I didn't have my mascot, the Stroll. And me being in designing and marketing and things like that, I kind of felt like it needed, you know, a brand, something to surround itself on, something that could be, you know, synonymous with my site and with toys and things like that. So I think the first 2 years, my blog was just Spanky Stokes. The top header, there was nothing. It was kind of bland. So I kind of went to the drawing board and came up with the Stroll, along with the help with my dad. So yeah, it was fun. And since then, it's kind of evolved. He's been, I guess, like I could say, synonymous with my site and designer toys, like kind of I had envisioned. And since I invented him, he's been created by artists and companies. And I mean, it's crazy to see the amount of figures people have made of my stroll.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you did the OMFG series, which October Toys. I mean, how many customs came out of that? I don't know, but it was more than I can keep track of.
Yeah, I think George was telling me one time that the stroll sells out, right, George? Like there's none.
Oh yeah, it was definitely one of the harder ones to get.
Well, it's a great mascot. I mean, you did a great job on the design. It's obviously one of the probably the most recognizable mascot or icon of our scene. So, I mean, congrats on that.
Thank you.
That could have to do with the 50,000 stickers he's printed by now.
This is true, and slapped all over the place and given away, and yeah, fun stuff.
Is it based off anything?
You know what? So the story goes like before I created the stroll mascot, I was customizing a lot. I was part of a lot of shows, and I always created like big, hairy, drooling monsters. And one time my dad said that he had a dream about one of my monsters. It was kind of like one of those troll dolls, back in the 80s.
Yep.
So the troll, and he said it was a combination of that and my last name Stokes. So he said that he had a dream that was called a stroll. And, I give him all the credit for coming up with the word. So a stroll is a Stokes troll.
Cool.
There you go.
Now, blogging, it's a hard life. It's not like it pays the bills or, it's probably not a full-time thing. It's not always it's kind of a thankless job. And you've been doing it for 10 years. Like every week, I think that this is the last time I'm going to be doing this podcast. How have you been doing blogging for 10 years? And have you ever had those moments where you just feel like shutting it down or why am I doing this? And you've brought on help, people that are great writers and stuff to help you. Like, how has that been for you, blogging and the experience of the ebbs and flows and the highs and lows of being a blogger?
I went into it as a hobby, and it still is a hobby for me. It's fun. I get some money for advertising, which is icing on the cake. But yeah, it is. Like you said, it's not a full-time job, but it's my second job. It really is. I spend a lot of time every day on this thing, and anybody you talk to that blogs, I'm sure they tell you the same thing.
Well, you have to. You can't let a day slip by. I mean, just be a top blog. You have to stay on top of the news, get things out. I imagine that's a very hard grind to do over the course of 10 years. So, I mean, I commend you on being able to keep up that pace.
Thank you. And, I rely on a lot of people to send me information. I mean, I'll go out and I'm always like looking for things as well. Facebook, social media, just trying to see what else is new out there. But I rely on a lot of artists to email me, and that's been awesome. I mean, artists send me press releases, let me know what's going on, and that's how I'm able to stay. I should say we are able to stay on top of it because it's not just me anymore. But
right. And I've noticed as of late, you've actually kind of been like not a reskinning of the website, but you're actually implementing. Probably this is more of your background into it, like your header images have a lot more graphic design nature to them now. I think before it was mainly like just reusing a photograph, but now you're implementing a lot more. Are you the one doing all the text elements and cropping the images? All the images seem kind of the same size, but it's very more graphic design. I don't think the artists are doing that. It seems like you or maybe someone else is doing all that work.
Yeah, myself and Nick Curtis. And I blame Facebook for that. It's to make things more streamlined. We put up a post on the blog, and there's programs out there that automatically pull that content and push to all the other social medias such as Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, things like that.
Yeah.
Facebook being the biggest one, and when they pull the content, the image has to be a certain aspect ratio.
Sure.
So that's why all of those header images are that aspect ratio now. So it kind of gives, a clean, concise look. And if people go to Facebook, they can see the image and click on it. to take them to the blog.
That's a lot of work, though. I think next time someone goes to your blog, they should actually look at those headers and appreciate it and recognize that maybe an artist is probably just sending you an image, and then you're somehow splicing that image. You're taking their text or redoing your own text. Or I'm sure that's what you're doing as well. Being a graphic designer, you probably have a huge database of type fonts and stuff like that. But that's a lot of added work that you're doing that I don't think a lot of people probably realize.
Yeah. and I try, I should say we try to do it as quick and dirty as possible because it does slow down the amount of things we can post about. I know Nick, for instance, he has a certain allotted time that he does this stuff in the mornings, and then he's done. Same with me, I guess I could say. You know, I work sometimes during my lunch break at work, and then I come home, hang out with the family, and then once everything goes down at night at 9:30, I stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm blogging.
Damn, dude, that's incredible. That's quite the devotion.
Yeah.
It'd be hard. I don't know if I could do that. Squeeze in that with my full-time job, I think I'd be dead trying to stay up till 2 in the morning blogging.
Yeah, it's definitely tiring.
Try doing it as a parent. It's even worse.
She's a fur parent. She knows.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah, Gary.
I know. Yeah, a little bit different, but yeah. It's still a time investment. I get it. You got to groom her and take her for walks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You think I groom her?
Please.
I pay for that.
There's people that do that.
But no, I mean that's for sure. I think as a consumer of it, you're just going on, look at the info, and people should definitely appreciate it a bit more. I didn't realize that those were things you were creating. I mean, that is for sure. Because I do design too, and you get quick at it, quick enough that you can kind of put stuff together, but it is, it does take time. And
certainly it does. I mean, it's a lot of work. I didn't even notice it really until today. It's one of those things that you just kind of don't really pick up on it. It was pointed out to me, and I'm like, damn, I started scrolling, and it went all the way back to, when did you start? Maybe around May having to do this? Or
Yeah. It's fairly recent.
It's a lot of extra time. I mean, before you had it kind of down to a streamlined system, and then all of a sudden you got to start throwing in a couple hours, maybe an extra hour each day, I would assume, to do something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I would say on average, we were putting up on average probably 15 to 18 posts a day.
Jesus.
And now we're down to probably 12.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. Are you having to be more selective with what's coming in, or?
No, my inbox is full all the time. It's like I can't get caught up now.
Right.
Which, I mean, is good and bad. I just have to prioritize, just like anything else. Yeah. If something comes through and like it's brand new and try to get the scoop on it, I'll take the time and do it then.
It sounds exhausting, like to be that connected. You're always having to be connected and aware of what's going on. But I get it. I mean, that's what you have to do to be on top of your game and to be the first, to release the news. Yeah,
it's always nice to get those extra views. It helps out the advertisers and, helps out the site.
Yeah. I mean, you've been doing this grind for so long. Like, what's been, over the 10 years, what's been like the biggest reward of doing this?
The most rewarding thing is knowing George Gaspar.
Oh, please. Come on. No one would say that. Sorry, George.
Good answer.
George, you need to talk more.
I'm fascinated with all this stuff. I mean, I knew it was a lot of work to run a blog, but I never even would have thought about it because they're always just there, like these, you go to these sites and the pictures are always just there for you and the little stories are always just there. You don't even think about all the stuff that goes in, how many hours of work it takes behind the scenes.
Right. We almost take it for granted. Like, hey,
it's totally taken for granted. I mean, no, if we didn't have blogs like Spanky Stokes, like when someone's toy comes out, who's going to know? Like Instagram doesn't show you anything anymore. Facebook is generally useless. So it's like if these blogs weren't here and these guys putting in these hours for basically nothing for their for fun for them, it's they're the unsung heroes in this scene for sure.
Yeah.
It's weird how it's progressed. Like I was talking about the forums being, that's where all info used to happen. I mean, releases, artists were part of it. They would, tell us that they put something in their online store via the forum, and I don't know. It was kind of, as cheesy as it sounds, it was like a magical thing. And I think around 2009 or so, 2010, when social media, when Twitter kind of took hold. I think it's probably at 2009. Twitter kind of shook the foundation of the forums, I feel like. And since then, Facebook kind of got their act together, and along with the pages that you can do on Facebook and businesses and just all that stuff. I feel like social media, that's the reason the forums are no longer.
Yeah, I can totally see that. But you know what? I don't remember the forums. Was not huge into forums. I was more of a lurker. I would rarely contribute. I just mainly watch. But I think for me it was mainly collectors and fans talking. I don't remember a time where the artists and companies were, that's the first time you were seeing their news. That must have been maybe before I started doing the forums.
Yeah, it must have been, or yeah, I don't know, but I remember going there and always following the artists and what they would have to say. I mean, Kozik and Mad and Joe Ledbetter, Huck, they all had huge presences there.
So speaking of Huck, let's talk about this. So,
okay,
what was it? A couple of weeks ago, I think it was August 18th to be exact. He mentioned that he's gonna close up shop and essentially shutter the doors of Huck Gee Inc. And he mentioned he's been doing it for the past 15 years of his life as a creative. He's gonna, it's gonna be a turning point of his career as an artist and designer. But he's looking forward to the new venture. So, was this a surprise to you? This announcement?
I think it was more of a surprise that he lasted as long as he did.
Why is that?
Because there aren't professional artists out there in our scene that can just do it full time and be able to support. I mean, he has 2 kids now.
Right.
It's not feasible unless, you live somewhere that's super cheap to live and you live by yourself and you don't have a family, then yeah, maybe you can do it, but it sucks. But I know he's still gonna do stuff. He's a creative.
You can't turn that off.
No, and he's going to get a job with another toy company somewhere or do something involved with toys, or he'll get a job at a design agency and bring toys in with him, the knowledge that he has. Like, right. It's not the end for Huck. It's just,
yeah.
It's nice having a paycheck every 2 weeks.
He's going to love that, the paycheck and probably not having to work 100 hours a week and stuff like that. So, yeah, I totally agree. It's probably not that shocking. I mean, he lived out there, and I think his studio was out there in San Francisco, high rent. Most of its production was done in the U.S., very expensive. So it's not too surprising, but it's also kind of, I thought it was a little surprising. I didn't really see it coming. And, even if his doors closed, Huck Gee, he's not doing it full-time anymore, like Mighty Jaxx and Clutter, other companies are going to be continuing his Gold Life and his Blank series. They're going to be picking up where he left off, and so it's not like we're going to feel like he's disappeared. It's still going to feel like he was around. Mm-hmm. But as far as like doing the side stuff, I don't picture him leaving, because even if he takes a full-time day job, he was saying that he was tired of having loans and not taking family vacations and stuff like that. It's going to be hard to turn away from his fan base and that side money that I think he can get. I mean, he has a really strong fan base that's just going to be ready to pounce on anything he does. So it's going to be hard to turn away, and it's not goodbye for sure.
No, it was never goodbye. Just, a different chapter. Like they always say, one door closes, another one opens.
I think that lets all of us know like how hard this industry can really be, because Huck was seemingly on the top of his game. I mean, constantly winning Designer Toy Awards. It seemed every month he had a release coming out, and if he can't make it, that just shows how hard it is. And it lets everyone know that mainly this industry is a side gig for most of us.
Yes it is. And Huck is one of the forefathers, if you will, of our Western designer scene. So he brought so much to the table, and he will continue to do so. So I mean, like I said, one door closes, another one opens. And I look forward to seeing what Huck has in store for us. Mm-hmm. He's such an awesome character designer, and he just has really good sense of, I guess, worlds that he creates.
Yep.
With not only just characters but stories and the places they live, and he just has all of that going for him with his Gold Life with Mighty Jaxx. So hopefully they continue to push new things out with that. And I look forward to seeing what Huck has coming for us, because I know he's not done.
Plus, he can't leave until we find out if it's Gee or G. We really need to know this.
We were gonna get this answer. We had him scheduled. He was looking forward to coming on. This is probably a couple weeks ago. It was like, and Rotofuji came in the last second and saved the day because like 10 minutes before we had Huck scheduled, he emailed and said like, dude, the power in my entire grid just went out and I'm gonna have to reschedule. And then he just got super busy. I don't know what happened, but we just couldn't get him back on after that. Just the time and just didn't work out. So I don't know. We never got this answered. So I think it's
Gee.
Oh, gee.
The old debate, is it Gee or G? It'll happen forever.
That's why he's never going anywhere. Like his presence will always be felt, and it's sad because Huck was such a master craftsman. He worked in every material from resin to fabric to wood to metal, and to lose all that knowledge. I mean, hopefully one day maybe he'll mentor and pass along some of that knowledge. But until then, I mean, best of luck to you, Huck, and hopefully one day we'll actually get to sit down and chat.
Maybe we'll see some books. Either
it's possible.
Stories about his world could be cool, right? Like his artwork from like a print perspective into a storybook, or to your point, Gary, like a how-to book, knowledge passing.
Maybe. Why not?
He released a book in 2011.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was called The Art of Huck Gee.
Gee. Okay, so here, you guys, George, Teresa, you're fairly new, but George, Spanky, you guys have a wealth of toy knowledge. Especially John, you've been doing this daily, spreading information. George, you were doing Toy Break, and now you're doing Behind the Counter. So I was kind of wondering, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show in the intro, Toy IQ. Like, what if you could rate or put like a rating system to Toy IQ? Say like just like the IQ system, like 1 to 160. 20 and below being idiotic, 90 to 110 being average, and 140 over and being just like freaking stupid superior knowledge of toys. Like, where do you guys think you would fall into that rating system?
What was the idiotic one again?
20.
You're 20.
That's me. That's where I am.
Which is amazing, George, because you've been doing this for so long. But you're right, like, I don't know, like designer toy wise, especially, I don't think it doesn't seem like you care to know, or
I was never in this to learn about artists and learn about all the things about where they came from or what their inspiration was, or like I literally like my job is to give you my reaction on the thing I'm looking at when I open it at the time. I don't do research about what it is. I don't care if there's a story behind it. It was, it was all for me. It was all just about like
Aesthetics.
Just the reaction I'm having as I'm seeing it, and good or bad. It doesn't like and that offended many people, but I don't care if they're like if I have to research a story on your website, and I have to find a link to your website and research this whole thing and this is supposed to make this thing make sense. It's like, well, then your job is not, you didn't succeed. If I can't tell what's going on from just having it in my hand, because if you get a product into a store, it's gotta sell based on what it is. You can't rely on like
A backstory.
knowing the backstory, unless you're like a cartoon or a movie and all those things. And that's why that stuff sells better, because it does have those backstories. But sometimes you got to be able to just get it out there and get it to me.
But don't you think that you're being educated a little, just like by seeing the artists or posts on Instagram or going to SpankyStokes.com? Don't you think you're educated on maybe a little more of a daily basis as to what's going on out there? I mean, you're higher than a 20, George.
You would think think so, but I have zero retention. And I'm half kidding, of course. But
of course,
yeah.
sure. But
I really do. I don't retain a lot of the information, like so, and especially because everybody's got like 16 names. They have their actual name, their Instagram name, their artist name, their toy name. It's like I don't even know what to call anybody half the time.
that is a problem.
Like, is it Flat Bonnie or is it Yukari? Is her name even Bonnie? No, it's not. It's like, who am I calling you?
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that to offend Flat Bonnie at all. I love Flat Bonnie stuff.
Oh, she knows that.
I just thought she was Flat Bonnie. I didn't even know what her real name was.
Flat Bonnie is the character, by the way, the little bunny guy.
Mm-hmm. And it is.
I thought that was the brand name, like the company.
It
the
is.
whole thing.
Yeah, it is. It's both.
It is, but it's also the main character.
Okay, well now I'm getting confused.
See how hard it is in this stupid world we're in. I listen to the episodes I'm not on, and when I hear Teresa and Gary talking about all the cuteness and all this stuff, they're saying names that are just so foreign to me. I don't even know what they're talking about half the time, and it's like, wow, do I even belong on this show? Like, am I even allowed to be here? Like, I don't know what anyone's saying.
But you, George, know other like I'm sure you know a whole world that I don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because like that's why I think you kind of have your insights into your kind of bubble, and I obviously have a very different bubble, and I feel like my IQ about my area is probably very high, but ask me about anything that kind of falls out of my aesthetic or liking, and I'm not going to know shit. So
Teresa, your IQ on cute related toys probably 120 and above. Your IQ on, I don't know, general Japanese kind of grotesque sofubi toys, probably pretty low.
oh yeah, it depends on what you're like. If you want me to know all the history about an artist and the backstories and all that, I'm probably not going to know a ton of that either. But if you're talking about just understanding who's in the scene making certain stuff that fits in my aesthetic, I'm pretty on top of that. But I may not know how long an artist has been doing stuff and when they started and the order they did their characters and all that kind of stuff. It depends, but
Yeah, totally. And what George was talking about when he listens to the show, he doesn't have a clue what we're talking about. We're just good at faking it, George. Like, you don't realize, like, you like to just kind of show up and just, do your thing and do what's expected of you, not much research and all that. But Teresa and I will spend every single day talking back and forth, going over what we might talk about, toys we've seen, and then we'll start researching, like how do we pronounce the person's name and backstory and all that sort of stuff. So we don't know much going into the show, but with the prep, then we're kind of filled in. And thanks to all the toy blogs out there, that's where we get a majority of our information. And what we can't get from them, then we'll hit the interwebs and Google search and go to the websites and bios and all that sort of stuff. So we're informed in that way, but without the research, we're nothing.
So in all your Spanky research for this week, did you happen to listen to the Yes We Are Pirates album?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, see, that's stuff that people need to know about, Spanky.
Oh, snap.
We're dropping the ball.
People need to go to the store on SpankyStokes.com and pick yourself up a treat.
all right, what is this treat?
I don't know that there needs to be an explanation. I think people need to go to the store on SpankyStokes.com, find the link to Yes We Are Pirates, and download it.
But I didn't even know he had a store, so he just did promote that.
See, look at that. There's that little tiny link at the top.
All right, let's see. Well, this looks sweet. It's a shirtless man with abs. I mean, I can't say no to that.
That's not all he's got. This is John. You want to say what's going on here? This is one of your bands, I guess. You're in more than one, right?
Well, I was just
when
like
you had time.
Yeah, just like everything else. When I had time, back in college, I was the drummer for a punk band, and that's the album. I put it up on my store so people could download it for free.
Oh, it's free?
Yeah, it's free.
Even better. But see, buy something too, so you help out the blog.
You don't need to buy anything.
We'll find some strolls to throw up there. So
I haven't
buy strolls again.
There you go. I haven't updated this in so long. I need to update my store.
You're not out of the woods, Spanky. What's your toy IQ?
You know what? I'm kind of like George.
Oh, come on. That's not true.
Well, the thing is like, I guess if you ask me about the stuff, then maybe I'll be like, yeah, I know about it. But like off the top of my head, like I don't remember what I blogged about yesterday.
In one ear, out the other, right?
Dude, it's just been so just like wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep, wake up. It's just like you said, in one ear and out the other. It's kind of like at work, dude. We're just so busy with projects, and they ask me what I worked on. I'm just like, you got me. I don't remember. Was it a poster? Was it a backlit? Was it a billboard? I don't remember. So it's just like I just do what's in front of me, and then I guess shut my brain off. But I do have, like Huck Gee book. I knew when that was released, 2011. It's in there.
You can pull it up. I think it's just you don't.
You just gotta dig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are both at least average. I'm going to throw you in the 90 category.
Okay. And then what do we get?
You get absolutely nothing. We're a bankrupt operation here, John.
Yeah.
We're not rolling in sponsor Spanky Stokes money.
Yeah. It's all about the
Yeah.
barter system.
Do you ever buy toys anymore? Or is everything just pretty much given to you at this point?
I'm really selective in the stuff that I buy. I'll buy anything that Mad makes because I like him and I like his work. And a lot of the stuff that's given to me, I'll end up either giving away or giving it to my writers.
Okay.
So,
Do they make sponsorship money at all? Do you pay your writers, or is it just mainly a passion thing for them too?
it's a passion thing.
Okay.
I sometimes I kick them back with some money if I end up getting some extra. But like I said, this is a hobby turned into a second job, and
Yeah.
now that my wife stays home, every little bit of money helps pay for childcare or mortgage, things like that.
Don't get me
So-
started on childcare.
Dude, yeah, you have more kids than me too, so.
Yep, I'm strapped until they're out.
Jeez.
So let's mention some of the sponsors that keep this show kind of rolling. They pay for our podcasting fees and stuff like that. So we have some great sponsors. We got 3dretro.com. They will definitely take care of all your designer toy needs. They are also a brick and mortar store out there in Southern California. I hear they're Burbank adjacent. It sounds like an amazing store, lots of great events and stuff like that. So if you are in the area, definitely be sure to check them out. There is also another great store, StrangeCatToys.com. And if you visit Strange Cat Toys, load up that cart because at checkout, you can use promo code Marsham and you receive 10% off your entire order. And then for all your daily designer toy news, well, the one and only, John Spanky Stokes has an awesome blog. It's called SpankyStokes.com. And there's also thetoychronicle.com. They're like I said, they're the unsung heroes, so be sure to check out all their hard work and stay on top of all the news to increase that toy IQ. All right, let's get back to John. So if you had your crystal ball, John, if you could look into your little designer toy scene crystal ball, what do you think it's going to look like in, say, 5-10 years? I don't think it's going away, but what changes do you think are coming?
Man, it's tough to say. I also agree with what you just said. I don't think it's going away.
No, it's not.
If the only way it'd go away is if you killed every artist. I mean, every artist is going to go out and create, no matter what happens.
It'll just be a root sort of thing. We might not be huge corporations or mass production, but someone's always going to carry the torch of independent production. So in that sense, designer toys is never going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, the boom of the vinyl was, 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, around there. And then when things started to go south, you saw a lot more resin, garage kits. So it's tough to know. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more vinyl now in the last couple of years. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that, vinyl is kind of picked up a little bit? Not like it was.
Yeah,
But-
I think it's picked up a little bit. I think we're definitely better off than where we were maybe 2 years ago.
I don't know if it's social media pushing that out there with, a lot of the Eastern companies, like in, Thailand and Singapore, and just all those companies and artists who have more of a presence on social media, sharing their things, all the different festivals that were kind of.
I think that has a large part of it. I think U.S. wise, we're kind of sort of about the same, maybe a little bit better. But Eastern wise, you're right. Because of social media or whatever, we're a lot more aware of what's going on over there, and everything seems to be just crushing it. It seems like a lot of the releases are selling out. A lot more companies. A lot of conventions. We got even Singapore something starting like up this weekend actually.
STGCC.
And that stands for Singapore Toys, Games, and Comics or something like that?
You nailed it.
Yeah, close. See?
No, you did. That was it. Singapore Toys, Games, Comics Convention.
I can get that right, but I can't get decon right. Go figure. But don't you think do you think the designer toy scene has a little bit of a marketing problem? In the sense that all the marketing that's been going on, we're essentially only marketing to people who are already aware of designer toys. The outreach outside of our little scene is nil to none. I mean, I know Clutter's trying really hard with the magazine, trying to get it in different stores and Blink-182.
When's the last time they released a magazine?
Every festival.
It's still going like quarterly, isn't it?
I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't.
I just picked one up at 5 Points Fest.
Yeah, I think they do them now for the festival. Like whenever there's a show, like was there one for Comic-Con? I can't remember or not.
Well,
There'll be one. I'm sure there'll be one for D-Con.
they were doing it. They were doing it monthly, weren't they, for a while? And then like
They were.
All
But,
right,
you
I'm
know,
looking this up because I know they've been doing convention ones, but I
Yeah.
thought that they did them
I think it's,
outside of that as well.
I'm pretty sure it's quarterly now. I don't think it's monthly anymore. And that's what I'm saying. It's like when you look at the marketing span of this toy scene, it does not go beyond what we're doing. Like I would say, let's, you know,
well, doesn't DesignerCon does like radio advertising?
true. Yeah, I mean, you got the promotions for the conventions and stuff like that, and
Well-
they're getting newspaper press and radio stuff like that. But I mean, do you think can the scene grow? It seems like it's not growing. I mean, it seems like we're still swimming in the same small kiddie pool that we started at. When do we, jump into the Olympic-sized pool?
You know what? Every day I try to think about ways to get new eyes on things, and I think every company out there is trying that too, just because our scene is so small. Whether it's through, buying a little sponsored ad on Instagram and targeting people that you don't follow, or the same thing with like Facebook, or teaming up with a company or a brand that has a different type of follower. I mean, these are all things that I've done like many times over the years, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes you get a lot of different eyes and followers. Sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know the key to it. If I did, then there wouldn't be an issue.
We need to somehow get some vinyl toys in the hands of like Kim Kardashian and Justin Bieber, and then it would like blow up.
Pharrell, they're in the hands of Pharrell now. Cause getting a promotion from Pharrell. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's not big enough.
Yeah, you would think.
The
you would think.
licensing's helping. I think the licensing's helping. Kid
Oh,
Robot and
totally.
other companies starting to, get more stuff out in, the Targets and the Barnes and Nobles, and maybe that's going to be the new gateway to take a look. But I think one of the problems of our toy scene, even if people take a look, they're going to see that it's artist made, artist created, but it's the entry point of cost is still too high. Because of that price point. Not many collectors are going to want to jump into something where they have to drop probably more than $60 on the average item, customs and whatnot. And I think that's probably our biggest hindrance is we're not exactly the most cost-effective, affordable collecting thing.
Well, I think that also has a lot to do with the handmade nature that everything's at right now.
Right.
Like before things went to vinyl, in like when Spanky was talking about earlier with like the first swing of vinyl, everything was at the handmade resin stage. There were stores out here that were selling all these resin kits, and it was basically the same stage we're at now. And then all those guys discovered, hey, I can make this stuff in vinyl. I don't have to do all that hard work.
Yeah.
I can charge less, so I can get my figure out to more people, and I just have to like raise a little bit of money, and I can do this. And once people start realizing again that you can do that, then those guys who are currently resin guys are all going to switch over to vinyl, and we'll have that swing over again. And that's where companies like Sideshow were born, and that kind of thing. Like those guys were resin kit guys. They were resin toy makers.
I mean, weren't you too, George? And then you guys started October Toys and did the Gwens, right?
Yeah, I mean, I came from a mass market toy background, so I was working in mass market, and that's, from there I wanted to do the artist stuff. But I mean, yeah, it was the company I worked for, the last one before I went to my own thing was a company that started out of his garage, realizing he can do this prototyping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm assuming there's just a bunch of different factors that kind of all happened at the same time that led to the downturn of the toy scene. Obviously there was the recession that played a big role, especially with the companies and the stores out there. I don't know if that impacted individual artists as much, independent artists, because I know a lot of them were flourishing at that time. But definitely another factor was just oversaturation that happened. Budgets can only span so far. And actually, when Kano was on, he brought up a good point that I didn't really think of before. And he was sort of mentioning that in the beginning, a lot of the designs were coming from artists that were fairly established in other fields like graffiti and street art and lowbrow, gallery scene or whatever. And they had this fan base, and then essentially they were already just kind of expanding the brand through the designer toy scene, just using it as a vehicle to promote their brand. And I think a lot of other people just started noticing this, and that's when the designer toy scene became this anyone and everyone can make a toy sort of thing. A lot of independent artists came out of it, and unfortunately, a lot of very amateur work started happening, and they were getting the same shine as the other guys. And so I can kind of see what he meant by that. And I was one of those artists that started self-producing toys with absolutely zero fan base, and I wasn't the only one. A lot of other guys did, and so maybe that was a turnoff to some of the OG guys, and maybe that did affect the atmosphere of things a little bit. But that's also one thing that I really liked about the designer toy scene, that you didn't have to be some established guy. You could come from the graphic design world and have some great ideas to become toys, and you didn't necessarily have to be plucked up by a company. This is something that you could do yourself. So I like that aspect, but maybe that did play a small role in the change in the atmosphere. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it?
Man, it's tough to pinpoint exactly when things kind of went down, I guess you could say. I know one thing for me, one event that's always stuck in my head, and I don't know if it's anybody else thinks this way, but that one year when Kid Robot didn't renew their booth at Comic-Con and they weren't there, that was a weird year. I think that same year during San Diego Comic-Con, it was Dragatomi wasn't there either.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With them not being there and Kid Robot, because Kid Robot brought the big name artists with their releases, but man, Dragatomi, they had such a huge presence in the scene by not only bringing all the customs to the convention, but bringing in all the artists.
Yeah,
and that was it just seemed surreal when they weren't there and Kid Robot wasn't there. And I feel like the years since then, it's just kind of like what you said with Comic-Con. It's like it hasn't been the same.
Yeah, I remember that was really, really weird not having Kid Robot and Dragatomi there. But at the same time, I didn't think too much of it because I knew that San Diego Comic-Con was changing and it becomes so expensive. It just didn't feel like the convention for us anymore. So I thought maybe someone like Kid Robot, being the huge company there, are like the overhead they must have sending out all of their employees, flying people over there, flying artists in, putting artists up in hotels or whatever, and not to mention the cost just to freight all their product there. It had to be so expensive for them. So I didn't think much of it then. But you're right, losing someone like Dragatomi, they had a huge presence there, and they ran so many customs and helped so many artists display their product that was definitely a big shock. So you're right. The San Diego Comic-Con hasn't really been the same since those days. But I do think that we are definitely better off today than we were the year that happened.
Oh, for sure. But I still wish Dragatomi was around because they brought in a lot of fun.
I've heard that a few times. I've actually never hung out with the Dragatomi crew, but they definitely had a reputation at SDC as being the people to hang out with. And actually, I think they were the ones that coined the toy family term. We kind of stole that, and maybe we're carrying it, the torch a little bit for them. But yeah, I heard they were a riot to hang out with.
Yeah, right. I was talking with. Go ahead, Teresa.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's always so weird for me to hear you all talk about these like ups and downs because I guess I came in kind of late and I've never really felt that because I've always just been into it. So I don't know. From a collector standpoint, I don't really feel like I've ever felt some weird up and down. I just buy what I like and hope it doesn't go away.
Yeah, and I can totally see that. And actually, it wasn't something that you saw or felt. I think it's just something that when you're in it for this long, like you can kind of look back at all the years and see where things started changing or what times were different. And I think that magic that was felt like in the early days, and I think that maybe that could have been just because it was new to me. It was just real excitement, but there was something different about it. There was Kid Robot was a huge lifestyle brand, and they did amazing Dunny release parties and trading parties. Those were always super well attended. A lot of shows with lines going around the corner, and it seemed like every weekend there was a custom show. I don't know why it just seemed different, but it wasn't something that you really noticed. It's just I can retrospectively look back and kind of see the differences.
I don't know,
That
when
makes-
there's still events and stuff, those people still show up. Like there's like when 3D Retro does their different release parties and stuff, people still show up to those things. And I think that there's a lot less of those now because there's a lot less stores now.
Mm-hmm.
And that we used to have, everyone would, whatever toy they made, they would have a platform show based on it, and they would just ask everyone to customize it. And I think, I don't know, that kind of stuff just started slowing down because maybe there was just a custom show every time and everyone was getting tired of the same 12 people customizing stuff. Like there's only so many, only so many times you can get the same 12 artists together to customize another shape.
Right.
But
12 artists.
There was a lot of custom shows at one point. Every weekend there was a new show, it seemed like.
And there were more than 12 artists.
All right, 15.
No, I can, dude, it was like seriously magical. Those shows and that time that Gary was talking about, like just something about it, just something, like a kid on Christmas morning, like releases, and you can't really put a finger on the feeling that you would get when that stuff would happen, but it was really cool. And the custom shows, like I was a part of a lot of those, and it seemed like you said there was like one every weekend, and it was fun, and it was fun promoting them. The artists were excited to share their pieces and let me promote them on the website to help promote the show. And one that really stands out to me was the Celsius show at the old Toy Art Gallery. Do you guys remember that show from Rotobox? It was that robot-looking guy with the angel wings.
I do, John, but that's because my IQ is high. Yes.
There you go.
I know what those are.
There you go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Attaboy. I think you had a piece in there, George.
I probably did. I just don't know what it's called.
The Crypto Vinyl, whatever they're called. The one that freaking Martin Sue's Dragon Boy's getting built out of. It's the other character by that same group, right?
Yeah, the Rotobox Vinyl Automatica.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And
They had the wings.
Yep, and the wings. And the show, there were like 70 artists or something like that. Crazy. And I remember driving up to LA for the weekend, and like people flew in for it. I mean, Kevin Gosselin flew in from Washington, and J. Rue and Ritzy, and we were all there at the gallery helping Gino set up, and like we were doing like vinyl printing, and the guys from Rotobox flew in from the Philippines, and it was just like, it was a fun event. And it's just like, we don't really have that anymore, except for the big conventions, which are awesome, by the way, like Designer Con. I wish I would have gone to 5 Points. It seemed like that was a good time.
Yeah. Being out in Phoenix, I haven't had the luxury of attending too many of those custom events. I did go out to one out there in, I think it was on Melrose, but it was the Sketchbot show, and there was a ton of customs. Was it Monkey King? Okay.
Yep. It was the old Monkey King location that was really long and narrow store.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, that place was packed, and I don't think we have that much anymore. I think most of the customs events seem to be like something that's going on at a convention, and as far as like the stores, they don't seem to be having them as much anymore. But like to the point what George was saying, like 3D Retro seems to be having great release parties and great attendance. They have food trucks and everything, and so they're definitely doing it right. And as far as the lifestyle thing that I keep bringing up, like that lifestyle like sort of seems to be missing, like Kid Robot used to have in the day. But it seems like they're trying to get back to that. I heard they're doing a pop-up shop in like the Nordstroms with a crossover with Hanes, like some Dunny shirts and stuff like that. So that's what they used to do in the past. That's what got them the lifestyle feel that they had. So it seems like they're kind of getting back to their roots a little bit. So that's great to see. And I know we talk a lot about like the past and all that sort of stuff, the heyday, but I think where we are today is like, yeah, we're different than back then, but I feel like we're doing good, and I feel like we are getting better.
Definitely.
All right, John. So we hit the stomping ground, and we let our listeners know that you're coming on. We put out a thread, like if you have any questions for John, let us know. And we actually received quite a few questions for you. So you want to tackle some listener questions?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
Let's see.
How much milk does Spanky drink?
Now or used to? Thanks,
Used to.
Angie.
Is this you're a pretty big guy. Is this regular milk or muscle milk?
No, it's just regular milk,
Okay.
2%.
Man milk.
Man milk. No, in high school, I would go through a gallon a day.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
A gallon a day?
Come on, Teresa. You know you do that.
No, I can't. I actually can't even. So I grew up. This is like a side note. We had to drink milk with every meal. That was like
Yeah.
the drink of choice. And so I grew up constantly drinking milk. And to this day now, I cannot drink it. I actually eat cereal plain, like out of a baggie.
You're
I
a
do
weird
not
one.
put milk on anything. It's gross. So that makes me barf a little in my mouth. That's a lot of milk.
I got a milk story for you. You want to hear this?
I can't wait.
Okay, this is good. I used to love milk. I would chug milk constantly. Like before I would go to bed, I would just chug like glasses and stuff. And then one year, my parents sent me off to summer camp, and at the camp, I drank tons of milk, but I refused to use the restroom, and I became quite constipated to the point like I woke up one night just in grueling pain, and I had to leave summer camp early and eat only bran for the next few weeks. So there's that story. So
That's
I
the
don't
weirdest story.
I don't drink as much milk as I used to.
So you
That's a-
ruined milk for yourself.
That is amazing.
I love milkshakes. I love milk, but I will no longer pour myself just like a big glass of milk. If something contains milk, cool. But no, I'm no longer a milk drinker.
It's straight up that I can't do. Ice cream, man, I'll eat it all day. Literally, I told Gary I pre-gamed with some ice cream before I
There you
got
go.
on the
Pre-game.
podcast.
That's your pre-game treat. I like it.
Nice.
All right, John, another question. If you eat yourself, would you become twice as big or disappear completely?
Who's writing these questions?
This is what our listeners give us. I'm trying, George.
What kind of
but
listeners do we have? Come on.
Let's say disappear.
That's what I would say. If you eat yourself, you don't exist. Right?
Yeah, and that's what I was. That's what I would say too. There you go, Carlos. Okay, so here's a real question. Are you ready, John?
Yes.
This one comes from Christopher Lees of one half of the Horrible Adorables. So he's curious about some of the basics of blogging. From what he understands, much of the financial gain in blogging just isn't there. And so with that, what keeps you motivated to do so much work helping to promote artists and their sales? And when do you know you've done a good job? Like, how do you personally measure that?
I read that and that was a really cool question. You know what is awesome about doing the blog? As a lot of people say it's thankless, which isn't the case. I get thanked a lot. And it's really cool when artists will send you an email or a private message, or sometimes they post it publicly, thanking the site or one of the writers. But I mean, I would say once, twice a week, I get a note from somebody saying that, my product wasn't selling, and then I saw your post on my site and it sold, 15 minutes after your post went up.
That's awesome.
Or just, thanking me for the constant promotion of their pieces over the years. And it just, I get thanked, and a lot of the artists are really appreciative, which is, I think it's cool. And that's why I started doing those Free Goodie Fridays, just really thanking people, giveaways, thanking them for coming to the site, just trying to give back to the community as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even during Designer Con, I mean, that was the big blowout where all the companies would donate everything to me, and I would just do giveaways all day, every day. And I mean, we gave away thousands of dollars worth of product.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and it still is fun.
Now, is winning the designer toy award, you won it 2 times or 3 times now?
4 times.
4 times. So, I mean, that's got to be pretty awesome. I mean, that has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, we're the only site to win it, 3 times back to back, and then Toy Chronicle won it once, and then we won it, and then they won it again.
You guys have a little battle, you and Toy Chronicle. You guys hit
Do
that.
we?
Yeah, I think a lot of us noticed that you guys both hit that campaign trail pretty hard, and seem like you're definitely gunning for that award.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely promote it. I'll buy, I'll sponsor an ad on Facebook. But, when it comes down to it, it's all about just getting the word out there about toys, like you said, and trying to spread the word to get more people in the scene. And that was really my goal from the beginning, and it still is. And whatever happens in between is, great.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to our next question. This one comes from another Stomp Grounder. What is Spanky doing to up their game in the blogging world? Are they being left behind when other blogs are venturing into different avenues to engage with the designer toy community?
Am I being left behind? What was the question?
The question is, what is Spanky doing to up their game in the blogging world? Are they being left behind when other blogs are venturing into different avenues to engage with the designer toy community?
Okay. So, yeah, I read that one too. And I think that we're constantly trying to do things to, improve the blog, improve our reach. Like, yeah.
As you have to. Like I just mentioned earlier, artists have to evolve or they're going to get left in the dust. If you don't step up your customizing game, it just continually improves. And I would imagine it's the exact same thing with toy blogs. It's like you have to evolve and change, and it's not about so much about being competitive, but as other people up their game, you kind of have to sort of follow suit, I would assume.
Yeah, you can't stay stagnant. And I mean, that was kind of the case with the headers on the site, creating those to make sure that they look good and format for Facebook. We're currently working on possibly porting over to a different host, a different site design, some things that I've thought about. And I remember having conversations with Jru back in like 2009 about the site and things, and technology is finally getting there to some things that I've been wanting to do, and we're actually trying to implement them as we speak.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's some fun stuff coming up that I think will make artists, companies, and collectors really happy and excited. And it'll be fun to see if we can get it to work. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I hope it works out. And here's another hard-hitting question. Do you like pet animals or do you prefer wild ones?
I hate all of them.
George, you don't hate them. I like wild ones.
Which
Wow.
Wild ones, okay. And
Which?
Here's a question I just found. How many rectangles on the screen at one time is too many for the human eye?
I would guess 8.
Your blog hurts my eye.
Oh. Are there too many rectangles?
I'm just busting on your balls.
George,
Scroll down your page. Look how many rectangles are on your page at one time.
I blame Facebook once again.
John, Shay Mazzone wants to know, when can we expect more strolls?
That is a great question. The Safubi stroll through Toy Art Gallery is in their court. I have no idea. That's it's up to Gino. There might be a stroll release next year through a big company. I shouldn't say there might be. There will be a stroll release. That's really exciting.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm currently in talks with a few other artists that I've worked with in the past to possibly produce some more one-off or like kind of a micro run of some strolls.
What about entering a blank contest?
Or
Yeah.
entering a blank contest, as I did.
Oh, you did?
Entered it?
I did. Yeah, I entered the Martian Toys blank contest
With
Wow.
what?
with a stroll.
Oh, I was just
Um,
gonna say, I think Stroll, the grumpy old man, needs a cute, happy girlfriend.
And he has one.
There
does?
has been one. Some people might never even know that.
Yeah, Teresa.
Well, what is this?
I didn't know that. And I like to think I'm pretty informed.
See, I failed. I need to know more.
George
Yeah,
has
what is-
one, don't you, George?
One. I've got many. I stole as many as I could off those tables.
Well,
Yeah.
shoot, give me Geeks. I want to look this up.
What is this lady's name?
It's Strollette.
Of course.
Obviously.
Dumbest question yet. I'm sorry.
During our wedding, my wife and I gave away party favors that Brian Rutherford of Rutherford Industries created. I did the illustration, and he output them into resin, multiple colorways, and I bagged the pair up with a header card and gave them all out as wedding gifts to everybody who attended.
Oh, very cool. I like when people in the toy community do that, like cake toppers and custom cake toppers and little table handouts and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, we had custom cake toppers too by Task One. He sculpted my wife and I as mini monies, and they turned out awesome.
Oh, cool.
Now, is your wife into this?
No.
Okay.
Not even a hesitation.
She just went along for the ride, huh?
She's been supportive since day one. So yeah, it's my thing, and she understands. And yeah, she likes some of the stuff, and I've been introducing my daughter to it, here and there with some toys, and she likes to play with them. And I'm not as protective of a lot of the stuff that I would have been if I didn't have her. I'll give her anything and just let her play with it. And it's like, whatever.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
I cannot find Strolette.
No?
My thing is failing. How do I find her? I just want to see a picture.
Let me see. See if I can do a search on my site.
You'll have to share it so we can share it with the Marsham Toy Hour world.
There you go.
She's hidden. I searched stroll and I get a bunch of baby strollers. So.
But
Yeah.
Spanky, I have a box of strolls I can send you of random. It was from my archive, so I have a whole box of strolls I can send you that you can start selling or giving away if you want to. Also,
Nice.
Bitchin'.
there'll be all the old colors that people have, but if people have missed them or if they want, just a stroll or something to paint, I can send that out to you so you can have it.
Sir George McBeardsley, I appreciate you.
Got to do something to raise some money for this blog that you work so tirelessly at.
Hey, it's honestly, whatever happens. It's not about the money, honestly. I'm in it for the ride. Let it just happen organically. And that's the way I've honestly been about it. So, thank you, sir.
That's why I call you the Prince of Positivity.
Come on, man. You got to be positive. If you go on Facebook, you know why.
Yeah.
Why do you think my Facebook feed is just full of nonsense?
Yeah, if you ever want to watch a video that will frustrate you, just go to Spanky's page. I'm sure he's posted 17 of them. It'll be this guy's about to get shot with an arrow or something, and they pull the string back on the bow, and then it holds
Forever. Nothing ever happens. Yeah.
I haven't had one of those in a while. I need
Those
to
are my
do some more
favorites.
research. They're great. The frustration that people give me is just amazing. It's so worth it.
And what did you say was the best ice cream sandwich, John?
No, not ice cream sandwich. It's the fudgesicle.
What
And
brand was that?
I think it's Lucerne, Lucerne. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
But Safeway, Vaughn's carries it, and Albertsons carries it, and it is bomb.com.
You know what John's also really good about using Facebook for too, guys? So if anyone really likes what you're hearing from John and you want to be his neighbor, friend him on Facebook. He likes to post, houses up for sale in his neighborhood. So you could live next to John. So just, he likes to keep his listeners and followers in touch.
I'd live there.
Yeah, me too. Some of those houses are nice. They all sold, though. The market's hot down here. Just like the weather.
Oh man, I'm sitting in an oven right now. I mean, it's been like in the 110s in Phoenix, but during the podcast, I work in my little 250 square foot office, and I turn off the AC in here during it, so it is warm. But what about you, George? I know it's like hot in Southern California too.
It's currently 94 in the room I'm in.
Why the hell do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through this? We don't have to be sitting here
for the love
sweating.
of John.
For the love of John. I got solar panels on my house, and my room is currently 74 degrees right now.
I mean, I have solar panels too, but it just provides the energy. I can't run the AC during the show, otherwise you would totally hear it. It's really loud. I've done it before, and George has heard it. It would definitely ruin the show. So,
Man,
I think you're so crazy about that. I think you should just let it run. No one's
I
going to
think
care.
so. I think so too.
No, it's a small room. It's one of those wall units. You would totally hear it. It's much louder than just like the, AC in a house or something.
I honestly don't know how you all sit. It's 68 in my house.
Nice.
Y'all are crazy. It sometimes I get hot.
It is.
Well, it is 11 degrees cooler than it was this afternoon, so I
that's
guess
a plus.
94 is not so bad.
That's a plus.
When we start talking weather, is that just a sign just to end it? But I'm not ready yet. So I know one thing that John mentioned was talking about the Kid Robot forums. And I know that's still around, still doing okay, but it's changed a little bit. Like Teresa, like I don't know that you do the Kid Robot forums, but I know that you're part of like Kid Robot Facebook groups on Facebook. That's correct, right?
Yeah, well, so I mean, I know about the forums. I think by the time I even signed up, they were pretty much dying out because like I heard about them. So I was like, okay, I'll create a password. And I knew it was probably old because it was very hard to navigate. It's a very old website. But so I was aware of the forums, but it didn't seem very active. So yeah, like kind of the new, I guess, version of the forum would be this Kid Robot buy sell trade group on Facebook that I think it's got about over 3,000 members at this point. So it's not massive, but it's
pretty big.
It's building up. And so that's kind of a good kind of go-to place if you're trying to like sell or find some stuff.
But
so
they also
I tried
have
that.
discussions there as well, correct?
Yep.
Yes, sometimes. Yeah, there were some interesting debates that go on.
You were telling me recently about one, like what makes a figure rare. What was going on there?
Yeah, so there's people who join, I think, that are like brand new. So like they found some, maybe a licensed, South Park figure or Bob's Burgers or something. They come on. And so I think some people are truly asking, not to like start debate, but they're just truly curious because, in like, say the Funko world, it may be because it's retired or because it's a chase or what have you. So they're like, what exactly is rare in the Kid Robot world? And I guess that like that spurred some interesting conversation because there was like these two very distinct sides of rarity being based purely on production size and rarity being based on in search of. Like, doesn't matter if it was 50 or 500. If it's very hard to find and buy now, that makes it more rare. Whereas other people were saying it's purely because only say 5 were made or it's one of a kind or what have you. It's rarity. So yeah, I'm curious what you all think. What makes something rare?
Why don't you take this one, John?
What makes something rare? I would say if it's bloody or pink in the middle.
Oh, said like a true huntsman. I'm pretty sure you hunt your own meat, don't you?
I do. Let me think here. What makes something rare? I would just say run number. A low run number would make something rare, right?
See, I agree, but at the same time, I do think the ability to find something can also contribute.
Yeah,
like,
I guess that's true. Like a Kid Robot Black, like something
right.
that's like 200 were made, but none of them are for sale.
Right, or like, I don't know, like it was a very, very sought after thing, and maybe there were a couple hundred made, but like anyone who has it wants it forever. Like the ability for someone to find one to buy, have someone willing to sell it, could be very, very low.
I think that constitutes rare as well.
Yeah, I would say that pretty much goes right back to the edition size. It's something small enough that everyone loved the item and you can't find it on eBay or resale market. Like that's all due to partly the edition size.
Yeah,
I mean, not necessarily, because look at a figure like the Sours. They weren't necessarily that limited. They came out in a time when things had pretty high run numbers, even for the exclusive runs.
True.
And you really don't see those pop up too often. So that's a figure that there's plenty of figures that are way more rare, and they're even in their regular edition, and yet that is a harder figure to find than some of those.
Which
Man,
is amazing,
where are
right?
the Sours?
Because the run sizes say are like between 30 to anywhere from the micro edition size of 5 up to, you don't really see anything exceed a run size of 100 anymore. Maybe something like Kid Robot, you'll see excesses of run size of 300, but you're not seeing edition sizes of 1,000 or 10,000 anymore, like back in the early 2000s.
This is true.
which is
Yeah, I
impressive.
mean, when we first started Gwyn's, the run size was like 1,000 pieces of each version. So
which
it's
is
like
amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's nothing like that anymore.
Yeah, no, I started the designer toy scene with my first toy, but no one knew who I was. I was a no name, and I released Carrot Shake Jake edition size of 500 in one colorway, and it sold through. I could not do that today. It just would not happen today.
And see, that is an example one, like your Jake figure. If I wanted to find it, I don't know how I would find it. Like there were 500 made, but like I've never seen anyone post it for sale.
And that's good. That's exactly what I love to hear that, because that tells me people either like it, that they don't want to sell it, or people just don't know that other people are looking for it.
I mean, I guess it could partly be that second piece, but it's just that to me also makes things rare in a way, because there may be 500 of them out there, but I, for the life of me, maybe wanted to own that, but I don't know how I would ever do it. And even like rarity, I think, can sometimes apply when we're talking about international pieces. Like there are some pieces that I could, for the life of me, cannot figure out how to buy, and I'm sure over in Thailand or Japan or what have you, people have them. But over here in the U.S., it's a pain in the ass to try to figure out how to get. Yeah. So for me, those feel rare to me because I cannot figure out a way to acquire it.
That's exactly why they do it, though. Like, don't you think it's managing the numbers is what kind of fuels this whole collector mentality? You want to feel like you own something rare. You want to feel like it's potentially gaining in value and stuff like that. And maintaining those numbers at a low size that are hard to obtain kind of makes it seem kind of what it is. If everything was produced at run size of 10,000 and constant fire sales to move product, I think that's one thing that a downturn in the scene is when you started seeing the fire sales of 50 to 75% off on an item that was released only a month ago. That definitely affected the collector's mindset of, well, if I can wait. I like the item, but if I wait 6 months, maybe I can get it for $20, $30 cheaper.
Yeah, no, we never put any of our stuff on sale because of that. Even if we had, a bunch left, or if we were waiting on something that was, we had a couple too many, I would just keep them up. There's no, I would never put something on sale because I don't want people to sit there and wait until there's a sale. Because the second you do that, that goes back to the old Funko before they became Funko Pop. Back at Comic-Con, they would have their, they would sell their stuff all weekend, and then on Sunday it would be 2 for 1 or 3 for 1.
Yeah.
And it would be like everybody, a ton of people would just wait till Sunday.
Yep.
And it's like you can't do that. But I also think that the other way is also hurting this industry, where people think a run is 5. Like that's not a run. You're just making a couple things for yourself at that point, for you and your friends. You're selling 5 or 10 of something is not making a run of something.
Is that more for someone who's starting out, though? Someone who just wants to do a run of 5 to test the
I don't know.
waters?
Look at Huck on his going away letter. He wrote how he has no problem selling out his runs of 10. Well, 10 isn't a run, dude. 10 is just making a couple things for your 10 friends. You're not selling to anybody. You're not building anything. You're not building an audience. You're not building your career. You're selling to your 10 friends.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to the market I was talking about, that this pool of people who can afford a Huck Gee piece, $500 to $1,000. It's very limited and small. So if he can sell out 10 pieces, awesome. But maybe he knows if he went 15, he might have 2 left over, and that's going to affect the value of it if something's sitting in the store. So, I mean, I kind of see why he does that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it against him. I'm saying it. I see it all the time with people hand making stuff. You're making 5 and 10 of something, and it's like that's not helping the scene. If you want to help the scene, you have to make 50. You have to put it in a store. 50 should be a minimum of somebody's thing. And it has to go into stores. It can't just be like selling it on your site, or the scene's never going to grow. It's just going to be individual people selling their individual things to their individual friends.
I'll agree with you there. We need the retailers. They're the ones that are getting our stuff in front of people's eyes, and by all the independent producers out there just doing, I would say a huge majority are just releasing stuff directly through their own stores, through their own promotion, and not much stuff is really hitting the retail base anymore. We need to.
And I mean, I get it. You make more money that way, but like it's too short-sighted. It's not. You're not looking at the industry, and you're not helping anything. You're not helping anything grow, but your own thing, your own pocket.
Right. Yeah, would you say if you're one of the producers that can release a new colorway every month, yeah, sure, do 5 for yourself and then throw a bone to, not throw a bone, but, let a retailer have a chance at having an exclusive colorway.
Yeah, there has to be something figured out for this thing to grow like this. Like, 'cause, I mean, imagine how many stores would probably love to sell, an edition of these cool handmade resin toys to their crowd, but like nobody gives them the opportunity. There's no one. I know Ben will sometimes buy, or he carried a lot of the Spaceballs figures from 2-Bit Hack. It's 2-Bit Hack, right? That does those.
Yeah.
And he will carry those because he'll pick them up at Comic-Con, because 2-Bit Hack will make a bunch of them and he'll sell a bunch of them to Ben so he can bring them back at 3D Retro and sell them there. And it's like, I think that's great for both parties because then he gets to sell them direct, on his own, and then also a store is selling them. Imagine if he could wholesale them and get them into a lot more stores than just one.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it doesn't happen more often? One reason I think is a lot of us have done custom events, and usually the cut is a 50% cut, and that's.
Yeah.
Do you think that most people are probably assuming that's what the, giving someone an additional colorway of your piece would be? It's a 50% cut.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of stores might not be able to take it if it's not that. They might not be able to take the risk. So, and I think it also comes down to like the artist just doesn't make as much when it happens like that. And these things are expensive to make. It takes a lot of time to make these custom pieces, and that's why production happens. That's why people go to production, because it's not feasible to run a business doing it yourself. It just doesn't. It doesn't make long-term sense.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like a thing where, there could be, you won't, as an artist going through a retailer, there's a cost split there, but it would help promote you potentially and get more people knowing about your product, and eventually over time that would pay off. So I totally see the need for retailers getting a little more love and being able to sell and show more artist stuff, because I do think there are a lot more. A lot of what I buy is direct from artists in many cases.
Right. Yeah,
but do you think? I mean, and I think, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of the artists need to have is a little bit of every price range. It's okay to have those things where you make 10 of them and you sell them for $5,000, but you should also have something that you make 1,000 of and you sell for $5. Like there should be. Like one of a good artist to look at in that is Luke Chu. He's got everything from, those tiny keychain hung guys, that are what, $10, $20 to a mid-range toy that's 40 or 50 to higher end stuff that's a couple $100 to paintings that are $5,000 to $10,000. Like he's got all the ranges covered. And that's that's the way to grow as an artist. You need to have, because you can't get a new fan base if you don't have a price range that someone can come in at. Yep. And if you don't have that, all you have is the fan base you have. And as those people stop becoming collectors, because inevitably they'll run out of room, or they'll run out of money, or they'll get married and they'll have kids. And then let's say you lose one of your 10 customers that are buying those expensive things. And now you only have 9 customers. And then another one leaves and you have 8. And you don't have anything to bring 2 new guys in. And no one's going to jump in at $10,000. They're going to jump in at 10. And they're going to, as they get more money, as they go to college and they have a little more income coming in, and then they get their first job and they have nothing to spend their money on, then they can buy the $50 to $60, $100 items, and they'll grow with you. And then they'll get to that point where they have the money to spend on the big stuff. So, but you have to build your audience with that little stuff. And a lot of people are forgetting about them.
No, it's
a good point.
George dropping knowledge.
Huge IQ bump.
1,000% agree. Because especially if like you walk in a store and you don't even plan to buy anything. Most people, I think it's a fantastic point. Most people are not going to say, "Oh, $80, yeah, sure, I'm gonna drop it." But if you see a $5, $10 blind box, you'll be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll buy one of those. Why not?" I mean, that's literally how I started. I bought little small things, and I was like, "Yeah, $5, $7, sure, why not?" And then you're like, "Yeah, sure, another $5. Oh, another $5." And then obviously it grows and grows, and you see where I'm at now. So I mean, it 1,000% makes sense.
And I think that's a lot why pins have gotten to where they are in this scene, is because it is that $10 item that a lot of people were missing.
Well, it's not much of a financial risk. We touched on it before. Dropping $200 on a run of 100 pins, that's not going to hurt an artist. You can still pay your bills at the end of the month, probably, versus throwing $10,000-$12,000 into a mass production run of over in China or Japan.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true.
True.
We got John for just 2 more minutes. So how about we do a quick round of lightning, John?
Let's do it.
All right, you can pick only one toy to keep, not your own. What would it be?
Not my own. I would keep my blank AP model.
Okay.
What's a blank AP model?
It's it's a 5-inch model from Mad Toy Design.
Oh, okay.
It was
Teresa, we
released
don't
in
have that much time.
2005.
Sorry.
Go.
Oh, he'll stay a little late for a minute if he needs to.
What's the toy you created that you're most proud of? Easy.
My stroll.
If you can go back in the past, what advice would you give yourself?
To drink less milk.
What is your favorite childhood toy?
Childhood toy would probably be G.I. Joe's.
Nice.
Do you have a current favorite toy?
Current favorite toy. You know what? I like my Shard Dunny from Scott Tolson.
Okay.
Bye.
Did you say why?
I said nice.
Oh, I thought you
Nice.
said why.
Because
No,
it's cool.
Who do you believe should make up the Mount Rushmore of designer toys?
Mount Rushmore would be Frank Kozik, Michael Lau. I would actually put Huck on there, and was there 4?
Yep.
And probably, golly, I don't know, Ron English.
Okay. And your holy grail toy, is there something they're still searching for out there that you want to possess?
I am searching for the saved Huck 5-inch model.
Okay. I'm not sure what that is.
Wow, that's an old one.
He, Mad made a run of Save Huck to help Huck with some legal fees back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
And as a thank you, Huck made 10 custom saved Huck in a reverse colorway. I have every single production model made and a ton of customs, but I consider that one of the grails that I need for my collection.
I got to update your title. I got to throw in like Master of Models or something in there.
Here you go.
I let that one slip by. All right, last question.
I have every Gwyn too, just an FYI.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Huh.
Okay.
Now I see
Next
how
question.
George got invited to the wedding. I get it now. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you said your wife isn't that into our designer toy scene. Is there a time that you ever paid, a lot for something, and she said, "You paid what for that?" What was that item?
She has never said that. She has never said that.
Very loving wife.
Yeah,
Yes.
Very supportive.
understanding. Yes.
All right, John. Well, we're 2 minutes over. I'm sorry, but we'll let you
Should
go. And
Hey,
thank you very
thank you
much for
for-
joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Gary, wait. You need to do the end thing.
our end thing. All right,
Tell
John. Why don't you take a brief moment and let everyone know where they can find you?
Spanky Stokes. Google it.
Really?
SpankyStokes. Everything will pop up. Facebook. Spanky Stokes. Facebook.
.com.
SpankyStokes.com.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, Teresa.
Easy peasy. TMHawk24 on Instagram.
George.
At Double G Toys on Instagram.
And I'm Gary Ham. Gary Ham on Instagram, superham.com. This has been the Marsham Toy Hour. We do this every week, not because we have to.
But because we want to.
And because we love it.
Thanks again for joining, John. And so until our next transmission, we're signing off. See ya.
Bye.
And right now we're going to give you a little taste of the Yes We Are Pirates that was mentioned earlier. So if you like what you hear, you get the whole shebang at SpankyStokes.com. Click on store and download Yes We Are Pirates. It's free! Enjoy.
pirates get their weed from?
I don't know.
You don't know, you see? How about a little place called Argina?
What the place? What the place? What the place? What the place? What the bloody place? What the place?
Hey, anybody know what the 13th letter of the alphabet is? Pirates don't know, no, alphabet.
No.
Can't read, You know, I think it's
What the? No. What the place? What the place? What the place? What the place? Go on the bloody place, 'cause I don't want the place. Yar! I want to know if y'all know where the pirates get their fast food from.
I don't know.
A little place called Arby. What the place? What the place? What the place?
Don't touch my body.
What the place?
Ahoy there, Jimbo!
So, I was just curious, and I was just wondering, what do you call a pirate that builds things?
I don't know, my wooden leg's getting
I
tired.
don't know, I just rape and pillage.
I think that you call it an ark.
What a place! What a place! What a place! What a bloody place! What a place! What a place! What a bloody place! Instead of what the place! What the place! Over the bloody place, said, you find yourself on a pirate ship, and take it easy, woman, till you give them no lip. You find yourself on a wooden plate, if they don't fuck, we'll give it that right. What the place? What the place? What the place? What the place? Yar! What the place? What the place? Check out what the place? What the place? What the place? Check out what the place? What the place? Yar! What the place? What the place? Shiver me timbers.
Tim, you butt pirate.